At this afternoon's top stories, activities to mark government's second year in office continue. Taiwanese donate to St. Lucia Agriculture Program, and World Government Summit discusses direction of global economy in 2017. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Tuesday, the 14th of February 2017. I am Shaira Flanders. Nationally, citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis were given the opportunity to dialogue with government ministers as the week of activities celebrating the government's second anniversary in office continued last evening with a Good Governance and Accountability for Prosperity town hall meeting at the St. Paul's Anglican Church Hall in Charlestown, Nevis. The town hall meeting featured addresses by Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, as well as Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Vance Amory, and Deputy Premier, the Honorable Mark Brantley. Questions were also posed to and answered by Honorable Wendy Phipps and Honorable Ian Liburd. The week of activities will continue on a Tuesday with visits to schools, and cabinet ministers and other government officials will hold wide-ranging consultations with community members from 4 p.m. Minister of Foreign Affairs Honorable Mark Brantley has revealed that there are scholarship opportunities available for citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis to study abroad. During a town hall meeting in Nevis on Monday, Minister Brantley announced that there are 20 scholarships available for study in Morocco.
I want to encourage you to encourage your children, the young people, that Morocco has offered us 20 scholarships for study in that country per year. And that for me is important. What is even more important is that our people take the opportunity. Too often, we go out and we seek to negotiate these arrangements, whether it's with Mexico, Cuba, Taiwan, Switzerland, New Zealand, Morocco, even this country in Europe called Georgia. We have been able to get scholarships offered to our young people.
The foreign minister urged young people of the Federation to take advantage of these opportunities presented.
I know of too many of our people who come back with a degree, and for the first 10 years of their working life, they're paying student loan. Money they could have been using to build a little house or to improve themselves, they're paying student loan. And I'm saying to those who are here and those who might be outside listening that we as a government are working hard to create the opportunities for you. But having created them, you must grab them. And you must grab them with both hands.
Minister Brantley's appeal comes in the wake of the low number of persons taking advantage of the opportunities being offered. Senator Akila Byron Nisbet paid a visit to the Dr. William Connor Primary School on Tuesday as part of the government's week of activities to mark its second year in office. The senator, in speaking with ZIZ after the visit, said she is pleased with the school and commended the principal and staff for the work they are doing.
It's been fantastic being here. They're in their sports term. I was able to meet with these kids in their different houses. They had house assembly this morning with Pumas in the lead, I do believe. And I was also able to meet each individual classroom, and it was really fun and exciting to meet with the students. They're very excited about being in school, and we had a lot of fun this morning. And so I am very pleased with what I'm seeing here at the Dr. William Connor Primary School. I admire the work that the principal, deputy principal, and the staff are doing, and so I commend them, and hopefully we can work together to see how we can improve more.
She made an appeal to the public to assist the school with equipment that's needed.
I will make an appeal on behalf of the principal that the school needs many equipment such as computers. They have a computer lab and most of the computers are not working, and they really would like to be able to have some computers. So as much as the government can help, I'm sure there are also other persons who are willing to be able to support the school also. So if you just have a computer, maybe one or two, one fill baskets, so everybody could support.
Throughout the day, ministers of government will be visiting schools across the Federation and interacting with the students and teachers. The Literary and Debating Society of the Nevis Sixth Form College will host the 2017 Leeward Islands Debating Competition, or LIDC. The event, which is in its 45th year, commences on February 23rd to the 26th nightly from 6:30 p.m. at the Nevis Performing Arts Center. For the competition's 2017 edition, 7 islands will participate: St. Kitts, Montserrat, Antigua, Anguilla, St. Martin, and the British Virgin Islands, and host island Nevis. The debaters are expected to be on island by the 22nd of February, one day ahead of the contest. They are expected to attend a welcome cocktail hosted by Premier of Nevis and Minister of Education, Honorable Amory. Topics to be debated include the high cost of youth unemployment relief programs outweighs the benefits, the global rise in anti-immigration sentiment is justified, Caribbean educational practices lag far behind other regions, and Caribbean cybercrime legislation will lead to the suppression of free expression. Joshua Brown, coordinator of the Literary and Debating Society, says that although they have had challenges, plans are being put in place to ensure a successful event. He noted that they have been planning since September and fundraising is ongoing. The LIDC was founded in 1972 by George Irish of Montserrat. The event, which began with 3 participating islands of Montserrat, St. Kitts and Antigua, has evolved into an annual event.
ZIZ TV wants you in front of the camera for a new and exciting TV show. Do you have what it takes to host the most adventurous morning show St. Kitts will ever see? The producers of the upcoming Morning Neighbor are looking for a dynamic duo to wake up and shake up the nation 3 times a week. Come to ZIZ Television Studios for a screen test and find out. Auditions start January 27th, 2017 and are open to men and women between the ages of 20 and 40 years of age. You can audition as an individual or as a male and female team. Auditions close on February 9th. Be a part of something huge with Morning Neighbor! Coming soon to ZIZ Television.
Moving on to news on the regional scene, the Taiwanese embassy in St. Lucia is helping to bolster the St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association's virtual agricultural clearinghouse program. On Friday, February 10, 2017, the embassy donated 3 greenhouses to the association. More in this HTS St. Lucia report.
The St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association SLHTA launched its virtual agricultural clearinghouse in May 2016. A project of the association's Tourism Enhancement Fund, it is an electronic platform on which hotels, restaurants, and food and beverage distributors get information on crop availability in order to increase the sale of local produce. On Friday, February 10th, the Taiwanese embassy donated 3 greenhouses to the program. SLHTA President Sanovnik Destang says they will be given to CARE, the Miku-based Eastern Farmers Cooperative, and the Babono Rural Women's Network.
Other than bridging the gap and the information gap, which is the objective, the greenhouses in particular help to reduce the impact of seasonality and of adverse weather conditions on our farmers. Because we have seen some great strides with the VAC. We have seen a lot of our hotels reduce significant reductions in importation of things such as cantaloupes and watermelons, tomatoes and pineapples. But around November, December, when we started to have adverse weather conditions, we saw that we had to revert to importing again. What the greenhouses I'm hoping will allow us to do is to reduce the impact of these adverse weather conditions, to be able to grow a lot of these crops year-round.
Destang says St. Lucia is leading the way in the OECS with the Virtual Agricultural Clearinghouse Initiative. He says it hopes to ensure that the agriculture sector can supply quality and competitively priced produce that meets the demands of the hospitality industry.
As far as I know, St. Lucia is the first HTA in the Caribbean, the first Hotel and Tourism Association in the Caribbean to actually employ a full-time agricultural liaison officer in the person of Donald Ishmael. In fact, a lot of other HTAs, including the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, is interested in learning more about our program to see if they could use it as a case study for other islands, because I think it's a common situation that we find around the islands.
Taiwan has assisted St. Lucia in agriculture since the 1980s. Taiwanese Ambassador Ray Mao says this donation is particularly important as it represents cooperation between his government and a private sector entity.
But now we also include the NGOs, the civil society, take a part of the agriculture training. I believe that the greenhouse can be a good beginning, but there are a lot more need to be done and need to be talked about. among all the parties involved.
The greenhouses cost just over $30,000. SLHDA officials say they are pleased that the 3 recipients intend to focus on the production of bell peppers, as members have been importing the produce in large quantities. The bell pepper is also a highly profitable crop for farmers.
Laws to ensure standardized production, preparation, packaging and retailing of foods in Guyana are under the microscope of lawmakers. Sean Embrach has the details.
Dr. Frank Anthony, opposition member of parliament, explained that the food safety bill, which was drafted by the then PPPC administration, needs wider consultation.
However, there were a number of things that we felt we had to discuss and include in the legislation, and we thought it should benefit from a fuller consultation process, which we were not able to do. And that is why bringing the bill to the House is commendable, but we should allow the bill to go through that process of consultation. As Honorable Member Dr. Ramsaran would have said, there are a number of commendable parts in this bill, but there are also deficiencies in the bill. And that is what we want to point out, and that we hope that by taking it to a select committee, that we'll be able to enhance the bill, strengthen it, and make it even more wholesome for the Guyanese public.
Government is of the view that the legislation will aid local food producers to upgrade to international standards. Minister of Natural Resources, Raphael Trotman.
Local food production will also be held to the stringent international standards to ensure that we not only achieve acceptability for export markets, but we also ensure that Guyanese, we at home, are offered the highest quality of food. Manufacturing entities, warehouses, marketplaces, restaurants, and other public eating places, and, Mr. Speaker, street food vendors will all be held to these international standards. And I believe once it is done in the right way, where they are consulted and training is provided, that they, in turn, will thank us for assisting them.
Minister Trotman further asserted that the protection of Guyana's food market from harmful imports is pivotal.
Thirdly, that a wide array of regulations, Mr. Speaker, must be instituted as we seek to make this integrated body into a world-class regulatory framework. World-class, Madam Teixeira, Honorable Member, sorry. Fourthly, Mr. Speaker, consumers will have to be protected against food fraud, as I mentioned, against false labeling, false expiry dates, incorrect ingredient lists, and false and injurious additives to food.
In consideration of the concerns raised in the National Assembly, Agriculture Minister Noel Older agreed to calls by the opposition for wider consultation of the bill before passage.
And bearing in mind the concerns expressed by members of the opposition, and in pursuit of unanimity in support of this very important bill to prevent placing in jeopardy our export potential in agricultural products, I move that the Food Safety Bill 2016, number 22 of 2016, be read for a second time and referred to a special select committee of this Honourable House for further consideration.
The passage of this bill will bring Guyana on par with international standards to easily export local foods of an acceptable standard to foreign markets. For HGP Nightly News, Sean Embrach.
Moving on to news on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump's meeting with Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was overshadowed by a scandal involving one of Trump's top aides. Reports say National Security Advisor Michael Flynn discussed U.S. sanctions against Moscow with a Russian envoy. Al Jazeera's James Bays reports from Washington, D.C.
The spotlight was on these two North American neighbors with very different political outlooks, President Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. But while they posed for the cameras, many want more details about what's going on behind the scenes at the White House, with the President's National Security Advisor, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, under pressure. He was present at a news conference with Trump and the Canadian leader.
Okay, we'll take a couple of questions.
Reporters still have many questions. Did he speak in January to Russia's ambassador about lifting sanctions against his country? Did he mislead his colleagues and the public about what occurred in that call? does the president still have confidence in General Flynn?
Scott Thurman.
But none of those were asked, with the White House carefully handpicking who got a question. In one answer, Trump did volunteer his view on the latest North Korean ballistic missile launch.
Well, I mean, obviously, North Korea is a big problem, and we will deal with that very strongly. Thank you.
But the way the administration dealt with the missile launch is causing considerable concern. Trump was with the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in the main dining area at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. Other diners watched and posted pictures on social media as the two leaders discussed this most sensitive security issue in plain view. One well-heeled diner, Trump charges $200,000 to be a club member, even took a selfie of himself with what he said was the military aide who carries the briefcase with the nuclear codes in it. After President Trump had delivered his warning to North Korea, remarkably, he took the Japanese Prime Minister to meet other members of his club who were holding a wedding reception. Out the way, this administration, only in office for just over 3 weeks, deals with national security. At his news conference, President Trump had the opportunity to back his national security advisor. He didn't take any questions on the subject, and that means he's not putting the issue to rest. Those questions continue to be asked. James Bays, Al Jazeera, at the White House.
With a global economy that appears sluggish, business leaders and politicians have been meeting at this year's World Government Summit in Dubai, discussing a path for future growth. CGTN's Norweed Jarabaki has the report.
We still don't know what Brexit will look like. And there's a new America First policy in the White House.
We're going to make it also much harder for companies to leave. They're not just going to say bye-bye and fire everybody. There will be consequences.
It's safe to say that these are relatively unprecedented times. With a global economy that appears sluggish, business leaders and politicians have been meeting at this year's World Government Summit in Dubai, discussing a path for future growth. The heightened rhetoric that's come out of the new Trump administration in recent weeks has led to some concerns that we may see an increase in protectionism from the world's largest economy. But the message out of this summit has been a call for more openness and a breaking down of trade barriers, not just in this region, but across the world.
The world has changed. It has become a common global market. I tell them leave the language of the 1970s, forget the old way of thinking, and those who want to open should open up to the world.
Despite the tough global conditions, the economic outlook appears more optimistic. In January, the IMF raised its international growth forecast to 3.4%, up from 3.1% in 2016. Its managing director, Christine Lagarde, says China will be key to improved conditions, especially since its currency was added to the IMF's special drawing rights in October.
Personally, really satisfied that this inclusion has been so smooth. There have been issuance quoted in SDRs, and that has been a success as well. So we have every reason to celebrate this additional currency in the basket.
But challenges do remain. Lagarde admitting she's worried about upcoming elections in France, Germany and the Netherlands, with unconventional parties gathering more support. The economic consequences of those political decisions, like Brexit and the US elections, still remain unclear, but policymakers meeting here in Dubai seem to agree that the world will need more joined-up thinking if it's to lessen any fallout.
And now for the weather. Present weather is fair. Winds are light and variable at 2 miles per hour. Seas are slight to moderate with waves up to 5 feet. The weather forecast predicts sunny conditions today with little or no showers and fair conditions tonight. Sunset today will be at 6:13 p.m. and the sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:37 a.m. That brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Shaira Flanders. Have a good one.